Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the stream. It is I, DigiDriver. Surprise! Again, I'm back for another stream. Might not be on as long as I was yesterday, but I did want to have some fun doing a little bit of scenery dev at the request of one of my friends, Steve099. We're going to be going and taking a look at 1-4 Alpha. It's an airport called Lake Norman Air Park. However, unlike the last airport that we were working on yesterday, this one is actually open to the public. So I'm going to load it in the sim, see how it looks like by default, and then we're going to start working on it and creating a new airport in its place. Also, unlike 6 Oscar Romeo 1, this airport already exists. Or at least I'm hoping it does. We'll find out right now. There we go. It's in Mooresville, and I believe this is North Carolina. And there we go. Now I have photogrammetry turned on, so there's a relatively good chance this may be in a photogrammetry covered area. We're going to see. There's 2 runway start positions, and then we have a few miscellaneous ramp start spots. So we're going to be all the way back here, try to be away from the hubbub, and then we'll make sure live traffic in time, and we'll turn off multiplayer traffic for now. We can always come back to the menu if I feel like flying with you guys later. We will keep live traffic on in case there are plenty of planes flying on overhead. And we still have gate parking 4 selected, so let's go ahead and jump in. I hope everybody's having a very good day today. Let me double check myself here. Yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and load in. Today is Sunday, June the 4th. I hope you're doing well, or maybe on the way to your Monday if you're overseas. Ooh. Live weather has a low ceiling, I think. I don't think I have photogrammetry turned on right now. I forget if I did. I thought I did, but let's just double check. Let me see. Yep, photogrammetry is turned on. I thought we were going to have photogrammetric coverage, but I guess you got to get closer to a major city. Let me see something. At least 182 should be fine. That will be relatively quick. Is that a bridge? It is a bridge. There we go. That'll work. I don't know. Is there any photogrammetry around here at all? I can't tell. Okay, so like I took a look at with satellite imagery, I do see that we have parking spots by houses, which basically demonstrates that this is an air park. If I understand the concept, you'll be able to taxi off the runway and go directly to a parking spot by a house with an airplane, which is pretty neat. I mean, I don't think anybody here owns a business jet, so I don't think we're going to have very big planes landing and taking off here. But we'll see what we can do. I might also experiment with the not road textures, but assigning roads and paths. So we'll see. Just double checking my stream to make sure that the stream is not locked. Okay, so let's see what we can do with like maybe an hour of time. We'll make a new project, and I don't know how far I'll get, but we'll see what happens. All right, 14A, Lake Norman Air Park. I think it was a package, and it is an airport. And I think what I'm going to do is literally do 14A, Lake Norman Air Park. Yeah, right. So we are overriding 14A, and there we go. Here is our airport, and we have jumped into editing mode immediately. We do still have IRL traffic, most of which I'm not going to be able to see from out here, but oh, can't see it behind the clouds. That's neat. That's good enough. I think most of the edits that I'm going to do today are not going to focus on getting everything done, but getting the bare minimum done to get this airport flyable, and then we'll see what we can do. I'm probably going to start by looking at the airport information in here. And I should be able to see something that lets me see properties for it. There we go. Okay. All right. So, step one, with this airport, we need to strip it of some things that we don't need. MSEP, good evening, my friend. Welcome aboard. Bonsoir. All right. I am going to use the delete command. Actually, before we do anything, let's go ahead and add some basic information. Ça va? Ça va, mon ami? Ça va? We are looking at Lake Norman Air Park right now in Mooresville, North Carolina. It is in the, I think it's in the greater Atlanta region. Let me take a look at MapQuest and see what I see. We're working on 14 Alpha, which is Lake Norman Air Park. It's an airport that's open to the public, and we are probably about, I want to say, maybe 10, 15, upwards of 20 miles north of Charlotte Douglas International. So we are in the region of Dooley, Doolie, and the country name is United States. State name is North Carolina. Where's Raleigh in relationship to Charlotte? Oh, wow. Charlotte's kind of in the interior. Okay. City name. City name is going to be Mooresville. Or wait, is the region Mooresville and the city is Dooley? No, we're going to stick with Mooresville. That's fine. I don't want to apply a flatten because I want to keep the shape of the airport. And what I mean is this. I don't want to flatten everything because look at the fact that, we even have three-dimensional stuff here. I do believe there's also a slight slope to this airport as well, especially when we put a runway down, it's going to make things look different. So we'll see. We will see. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to delete apron lights and aprons. We're going to delete all helipads and all runways. We'll delete all start positions, all taxiways, all vector placements and boundary fences, all jetways. Does this airport even have a control tower? I don't think it does. I didn't see one. I don't think it does. I think it might be a controlled airport, but it doesn't seem to have a tower. But just to be on the safe side, we'll get rid of control towers. We will delete all painted elements. Yeah, every single painted element and light supports. We'll get rid of all the taxiway signs. And we will make sure we have all the frequencies. Actually, that's pretty interesting. Did my other airports have frequencies before? I might double check at some point, but it doesn't look like we have frequencies for this airport yet. So I'm going to add my radio frequencies so it has it. What are the frequencies? Okay, let's add them as many as we can. Frequency 122.8 is going to be CTAF for this airport. So we have a CTAF and Unicom frequency for this airport. Is that a good idea? I don't know. I'm going to choose Unicom instead of CTAF because I don't know if choosing CTAF replays a certain automated message over and over again, and I don't like that. I didn't like that when I was flying out of certain airports in the sim, so we're going to skip over it. We're going to call this CTAF/Unicom, and we'll leave it at that. Next frequency is Charlotte Approach. Oh, no, wait. Do I care about that? Ah, I want the weather. Yeah. So we're going to pick the automated weather observation. I don't know if I want more than one frequency, but we'll add them anyway. 119.225 is AWOS 3. This is Sierra Victor Hotel, 9 nautical miles north of the airport. To keep things simple, I'm probably only going to add that one for weather observation. And we'll call this Weather AWOS 3 at SVH. 9 nautical miles north. So I think that's okay for now. Okay. We will... Oh, I think the project already saved. There we go. I'm going to save the changes I've made so far. Okay. Let me check my volume levels temporarily, folks. Just want to make sure you guys can hear the ambient sound. You should be able to hear it now. Okay, so what do? I probably start by creating the runway. I don't know if I want to create the runway as a solid or transparent runway. I know if I create the runway transparent, it's going to make it look like it's a water runway. And I don't know why these lights are still here. They should not be. These lights should have to go away. Oh, wait a minute. These are runway lights? Didn't I get rid of them? I didn't get rid of all frequencies. You know what? I'm going to get rid of 122.8 because VATSIM, but I am going to keep 119.225. And that's weird. The lights went away. A weird delay, to be sure. So, this is one of those airports where I might not necessarily add a fence, at least not right away. I'm starting to feel myself wondering a bit too much about what textures to use, so I'm just going to do the best that I can right off the bat. I mean, one way to do this would be to take the textures ripped straight from satellite imagery, but I I don't feel like doing that because I don't have permission to use it. And while I could do it that way, I would prefer to leave myself open to all future possibilities. So we're going to try to approximate ground textures as much as we can. So first step, let's build the runway. Let's pick the runway. The runway is 14 and 32. Let's add 14, put it down, and this is runway 14, 32, configuration. What's the magnetic deviation for this runway? Kind of doesn't show it, so we're just going to align it the best we can. First thing I'll do is rotate it slightly. And then try to align it as best as possible. Runway 1432 is approximately 959 meters long, and it is 12 meters 12 meters wide. I think I just pushed my plane again. Not too hard. 12 meters wide. MSEP, rest well, take care, and I hope you have a great day tomorrow. God bless you. Okay, this is a pretty big runway. Okay. Oh, it's moving because the runway's making the landscape shift. Oh, thank you, MSEP. I will. My friend MSEP said that make sure I take care of you. Thank you for the reminder, my friend. Okay. The runway already looks like it's pretty well placed. There's just a teensy bit of deviation that we need to make happen. So I'll be using numbers for this instead of trying to reposition it myself. First thing I want to do is find out what happens when I add or take away. So, okay, tenths make the runway shift more. So let's pay attention. This is not going as quickly as I would care for it. But I think we're pretty close to an answer. This is pretty close. Actually, that's almost ridiculously close. It's only a bit messed up here. Do I want to do 0.6 to see how far back it goes? Ooh, that looks pretty good. Wow. Folks, I think we nailed it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And there's our runway placement. Primary number is 14. Let's take a look at materials after we do markings. I'm using satellite imagery as a kind of indicator of what the basic markings for the runway should be. This one's going to be a little unique. I haven't created a runway like this in the past. So we're going to put edge markings down. Do we care about threshold markings? I don't see threshold markings on either side of the runway. So we're not going to use threshold. Fixed distance markings? Nope. The runway doesn't have those either. Touchdown markings. No, there aren't any. There is a dashed center line and number and designator at the end. The number is smaller than what it's supposed to be, but for the sake of today, we're going to leave the stock numbers, the stock number font in place. I don't know why this is as messed up as it is, but okay. If it doesn't fix itself when I test the scenery in a little bit, I might have to add some, I don't know, some shaping here to make sure this gets fixed. Precision markings. What are those? Whatever they are, they're not showing up. Extra pavement past the edge markings. I don't see anything. Okay, fall off distance is -1. Let me try playing around with this. Oof. Well, that's not gonna work. That's just crazy. No, we don't need that. I don't think this is going to be beneficial. So this is weird, but not at the same time. This was -1 before.
Stall.
Yep, I just kicked my plane around again. All right. Um, I might do some more terraforming with the polygon once it's available, but I'm not worried about it right now. Lights. Does this runway have lights? AirNav says we have runway edge markings. We have displaced lights, but no lights at the beginning of pavement. No runway end identifier lights. We have a touchdown point, but no lights. But wait a minute, the satellite imagery I'm looking at doesn't have a touchdown point. That's weird. This is a little confusing. But we'll do what we can. I am going to assume the runway has edge and center lights, but I don't think these lights are going to be very bright. I'm going to say the center lights are medium intensity, and I'm going to say the edge lights are low intensity. So this is a bit of a, well, not a bit, this is actually incorrect. I should not have um, runway end identifier lights. Do we have approach lights at all? There's an RNAV approach for runway 14. We do not have ILS. The primary runway does not have a threshold, but I believe 32 has a extended threshold. Excuse me, 14 has a threshold. So let's go to the other end. Okay, let's do primary threshold. And I'm going to base it off of what I see in the satellite image. We'll start with 10 meters. Give me 20, 30, 50. That's pretty close. How about 55? And it'll probably wind up being 60. Okay, the arrows aren't accurate to what I saw in the picture, but this is pretty close, especially to start. Approach lights. I don't believe any approach lights exist. Oh, excuse me. The edge lights are actually medium intensity. Does this runway have VASI lights? Let's see. VASI. Nope. No VASI or PAPI lights that I can see in the description. And no. No. Okay. No approach lights, no VASI, no ILS. Now let's work on the runway start positions. I will take the primary position. Oh, is the primary position on the other end? Or is it? I think this is it. Yes. Okay. Let's take this all the way back. I'm going to give anybody starting at this end the runway. And now we're going to edit the secondary start. And then we'll move this back. And that's it. So now we have a basic runway with start positions and some basic details, some of which I think are inaccurate, but not a bad place to start. So if I saved it at this point, we should be able to save it. We should probably even be able to take off from it because we've already got two start positions here. The only thing that bothers me is that the topography is... Oh, it's fixed. It looked messed up before. I'm happy. Okay, so the runway is set. We could probably do a build now and be good. So we'll save and we'll build. I should not have a problem with the builds. If there are any errors, they're probably from leftover processes. I don't know where the main beacon light goes, so I'm gonna have to find out more about it. But that's not gonna be today. Unless it's easy for me to figure it out. With the main runway built, I can probably do something I've been meaning to do since we got started, which is create the airport polygon. But to do this, I'm going to do two things. I want to be able to get a good look at the airport, so we're going to remove live weather, and I'm going to change the camera to a top-down camera. Top-down will let me take a look at the airport from perfect vertical perspective. You're fine. It's all right. And then I should be able to put a border around the airport to the extent that I want to. So we're going to create a polygon, our first. One click placing. I'm going to click on the map with my left mouse button, and then I'm going to choose a point at which I can begin doing all the creation things. I'm probably going to start pretty close to the road, maybe even on the road, and then go from there. So we'll probably go here, or maybe even here, just so we catch the tree line primarily. Wait, there's a reason I want to do this. I know why. I'm focusing on the airport property where you're going to be doing a lot of your, taxiing or being around. Hey, Hawker, good to see you, my friend. Enjoy the lurk, and I hope that your training goes well. Let's go ahead and start a basic draping of an airport polygon. This is essentially for, I think, a few reasons. So I kind of need to be a bit pickier about where I started. I think I'm going to create my airport polygon inside the tree line, and then we're going to do this. And I'm going to make this very basic. It's not going to be a very complex polygon at all. The purpose of this is to create an area where I am not going to be dealing with any kinds of significant intrusions from buildings or trees, things like that. That's pretty good. I'm pretty sure you do not have a taxiway on either side. So when you land here, if you land north, you're going to have to back taxi down the runway. Okay, pretty good. I'm going to try to Hmm. Do I want those trees to show up there? I do not know. We're going to find out real quick whether or not I want them there. I'm going to just do some very basic edge trimming and bring this down what I feel would be a good boundary for the airport. And then bring this out here. And there we go. And this is essentially the very first airport polygon. So we're going to, oh, I forgot that you don't tilt this up. This is top down. We're going to call this base airport poly. And we're going to create a group for polygons, literally called polygons. And there we go. There's our base airport poly. Why did we create the base airport poly? We did it for a few reasons. Um, one of them was going to be for terraforming, but it looks like the airport slope that the system kind of gave us is behaving. And this is what we're going to do. Inside the airport property, this polygon that we have, we don't want to see cars other than airport service vehicles. So we're going to exclude roads. We're also going to exclude street lights, and we're going to exclude power lines. And let me change my camera again because we're not draping the borders perfectly. Do we care about vegetation at all? We might, but let's exclude everything and see what happens. Now, what this means is inside the airport boundary, we're not going to have any trees to hamper, landing an airplane. And it looks pretty good so far. Okay, I'm happy with that. There we go. All right, so I don't know what airport area means, but I might experiment with that as an option. It doesn't seem to change rendering anything, so I'm going to leave it alone. And we'll keep this priority for this polygon set to 0. This is my base airport poly that gives me freedom to put trees down or to create a tree line of my choosing some other way. And that's it for now. So we've got the base airport poly. What do we need to do? Pretty good question. Probably create the ground textures, the groundwork, and see if we need to create the taxiways. I can see I can see at least 2, maybe 3 taxiways, but there's going to be no taxiways down at this end. Let's see. Well, don't think too hard, did you? Just got to put some textures down. But before I even do that, I'll just take a look at my satellite imagery. Because what does that tell me? There are taxi lines that go to people's houses. Like if I go here, I think. Yeah, there are a couple of places where people will be able to park their vehicles. But let me not focus on those right now. Or maybe I should. Okay, all right, we'll do this. We'll start kind of draping aprons from down here. And what do I want? I think it's concrete. That's what it looks like at least. I'll go back to top down so it's easy for me to place it. here it is. All right. Nice and easy. We'll make this easy. I'm going to put my apron points just slightly beyond what the satellite image is showing me so that I have coverage. There's going to be a little bit of bleed through on the edges, but it's not going to be much. All right, folks. Part of my delay, I was just checking on some stuff. I think I'm going to do this and maybe a couple of aprons, and then I will call this stream for today. Give me a chance to, chill and spend some time with Mrs. Digi. And like Sep said, make sure I take care of her. It's important to take care of family. So we're working on points to lay down some aprons. An apron is the code word for basically setting up ground textures or texture maps of an airport or scenery you're working on. It looks like the AI put a lot more trees than maybe it needed to. So I might come back and edit those so they're more realistic. But since I know that these trees aren't going to be like perfectly generated when you create a cluster of vegetation, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to approximate to the best I can what a parking area would look like, and then we will loop it back. These points are placed by hand. There's not much that I know of that might be able to render them as like an algorithm or anything like that. I mean, you can always just make tiny enhancements to an airport by keeping some of the basic things that they've added. But usually my pattern or my thought process is if I'm going to create an airport to replace a default airport in the sim, I'm usually going to go from scratch and I'm usually going to replace individual pieces, like as many individual pieces as I can, so that I have what I need. So it looks like this part is shaded a bit. I'm not going to draw the rest that's like right up against the driveway. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And I think that should be it. think I'll put the end of the driveway here. And I think this is a straight line, but I think this went out too far. Okay, so that's pretty good. I think I'm going to add some more vertices at some point to kind of stretch that out onto the little road that's there. But I think that's like more of a dirt road. So I'm not worried about it right now. Yeah, so it does open up a little bit, and it definitely opens up here. And there we go. Press enter and blam, there is your ground texture. We did wind up getting rid of the tree that was there. That's fine. And I am probably going to add some default buildings or maybe some custom buildings to designate that there are houses there. So we're going to create an aprons category. And then we're going to go into aprons and we're going to name this. What would I call this? Probably Northwest Apron 1. And this is concrete, but I'm not a big fan of the super duper gray concrete here. So we can probably pick a different concrete blend that's more like dirt-esque. Square dirt. No, no. How about tile 6? Tile 6 looks a little better. Let's go ahead and tile this. Change the rotation. And this will help me with the texture placement. I like this placement actually. Let's go ahead and change where these points go. Okay. So that's not bad. The only thing that's not nice about it is that the offset's really visible here. So I'm gonna have to change how this looks. That I like. This is at least consistent here. And then I can go ahead and take this edge and move it. And change that edge here as well. All right. So there you go. There is your first apron. And again, aprons are ground textures and will kind of put you in a position to decide how things should be draped or positioned with regards to the textures you're driving over. So, after you work in, like, say, Raleigh Durham or Norfolk or, like, downtown Charlotte, you'll come back, you will wind up taxiing down the way to your house, open the driveway door, and taxi your plane inside your garage. There are places that operate like this in real life. I haven't actually seen any of them, but the idea sounds kind of like somewhat radical. Let me also change the concrete tile so that you can see more of them. This is kind of nice, but they look really faded. I'm not sure if I like this approach. I liked having them more more visible. This might be a good compromise. Actually, yeah, I think it is. And then you would taxi down your taxiway to your house. Well, there we go, folks, from humble beginnings. And this looks kind of neat. And these are base textures that are available for use inside the sim. You can always also import your own, and you would probably want to create textures that have PBR because these base textures do have PBR and they will, I think, respond differently to things like rain. So I think this texture is like height mapped and yeah, has roughness to it. You can tell, at least I can tell. Your results may vary. I have a 3060 Ti. If you have anything like a 4000 series NVIDIA card or one of the latest AMD cards, it'll probably look even better for you. All right. How long has it been? Yeah. There we go, folks. 1 hour pretty much on the nose. I um I think that's not a bad start to our little airport here. And Steve099, if you're watching, I hope that this becomes a place that you'll be able to call home. Of course, this place isn't done yet at all, not by any stretch of the imagination. I might wind up creating custom buildings, but I know that right now, at a bare minimum, we want to create the individual taxiways to go to houses and make this place look nice. Maybe add some night lighting and all the usual things that come with this airport. And I'm going to go ahead and save my changes, do a build, which should be fine. Again, this is technically flyable even now because we have two runway start positions, which lets you land at the space, but there's no taxiways that are created just yet. I would need to spend some time working on the aprons, taxi lines, all this stuff. So, yeah, I think I actually am going to call at this point, friends. I appreciate anybody that got a chance to tune in. If not, this VOD will probably be up for a little while, and then that will be that. But this is kind of like a side project that I'll be doing alongside things like Plymouth Municipal Airport, which is Kilo Papa Yankee Mike. That's probably what I'm going to be spending most of my time working on this week. I may or may not stream depending on how I feel and how busy I am with other stuff. So there we go. Hopefully everybody's going to have a great rest of their day. I hope that you do. Thanks for watching. And I think we're just going to go ahead and cut out here in case you guys, need to hop off or look at something else. Have a great rest of your night, friends. And like I always like to say, if you don't have true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. Take care, folks. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.